right, so tell me a little bit about Curbit and what you do.
Sure. So Curbit is a capacity management solution for the restaurant industry.
What does that
It's a great follow-up question. So we ensure that digital orders start at the optimal time, and we also help brands coordinate guest arrivals so they pick their food up on time. So hot food is hot, cold food's cold. Orders are sent to the kitchen to coordinate all the other along with all the other food that's being made on premise. So we're really solving it. It's an industry-wide problem for any brand that's doing off-premise. You got a lot of channels now that are all hitting this constrained resource, the point of sale. So we're improving the guest experience by making sure they're picking up fresh food, and we're really optimizing revenue for the brand to make sure that the maximum amount of food could be produced during those precious day parts.
when brands initially come to you for help, what do they think you're going to solve? And then once they've implemented, what are they surprised you solved?
Yeah, I mean, most of the brands are just looking for basic communication with their guests. Is like mundane as that sounds, it's being able to provide a promise of when something will be ready and then delivering on that promise. So, that's sort of like table stakes now, but a lot of the systems aren't able to do that in a reliable way. So I would say that's sort of our hook. That's where we start the list of our customers. But we're sitting in a very unique position because Curbit analyzes 100% of the orders in the kitchen. We're looking at all on-premise, all off-premise orders. So with that, we can influence when orders originated off-premise or actually sent to the kitchen. We can influence the expectation across all the digital ordering channels of when the food will be ready. And most importantly, we can provide data to the operations that they just don't have access to. So rather than poring over a file and trying to understand what the operational issues are around speed of service, we create very actionable data around how fast, like what are the actual ticket times.
Right.
We can break it down by 15-minute intervals to a point to a brand to say, of this location, this is performing inconsistent relative to the rest of the brand. So, really we're about creating consistency.
Yeah.
The operation, consistency for the guest. So they know every time that they order from a brand that's powered by Curbit that they're going to pick up fresh food on time. And it just has that, real kind of broad sweeping impact.
Yeah. I think it's interesting at the show at FSTEC, I've gotten to talk to a lot of different solution providers, right? And I think a lot of the solution providers have this running theme of, hey, you partnered with one of our competitors and you were disappointed, but we're going to underpromise and overdeliver. And they're talking about that in the restaurant technology space and its ecosystem in itself. And you're talking about that for the restaurants to empower that, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a unique place in that, when you ask the first question, what do you do? I said capacity management. Well, no one knows what that is because that didn't exist.
Yeah.
That didn't exist pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, you didn't have all these orders colliding at a point of sale. It was wait times were explicit. Everything was done between the four walls. So we've created it's really a new category that we're introducing to the restaurant industry. And, a big part of our success, it's about establishing trust with the restaurants and the technology providers that we integrate with, because it's got to work, right? And we're a real-time solution. So it can't work 90% of the time. It has to be accurate and reliable 100% of the time. So that's really a big part of what we do with the brands that we work with. We really take a cautious approach to really sort of give that walk to run implementation where we're going to show you the data first. Everything that we do, every decision made, it's driven by data. So when we first meet with the brand, we'll get access to all their kitchen data and we'll show them. We'll say, these are your ticket times by location, by day part, and we will show you what they're currently telling their customers by way of a quote. So it very clearly shows them the extent of their problem. It's data driven, and then we put them into a trial period where their internal team can test to make sure that the data translates to the the experience. And then when it's time to turn on for the, in production with real customer, it's like everyone's aligned that this is going to work. It's going to work great. It's going to have it's this profound impact. And that's, we've been slow and methodical about that, but we feel like at this stage of our company, it's all about trust and creating that relationship with the industry. So when, somebody says, hey, I heard about Curbit, it's like, they've got the confidence that when we engage, it's like, we're going to deliver on.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love how you're starting out with the data going, hey, here's the gap, and then let's solve it, which is, I feel like a lot of brands are investing in technology because they have to stay on kind of the bleeding edge to stay competitive, right? And so I feel like a lot of brands are stuck in this spot where they feel like they have to take a gamble on, especially with some of the hot topic, AI stuff going on right now. Like they feel like, oh, well, we've got to do that, but we don't really know what the impact's going to be. And you're making it really clear. I love that.
Yeah. The technology side of restaurants is incredibly challenging right now. I mean, there's these things that kind of get circulated on the trades that show all the different tech pieces in the sort of that flywheel. And can't even imagine being like leading a tech team to say like, this is what we need. It's daunting. And so, I mean, we're unique in that we touch all the disparate systems. So we touch online ordering, we integrate with Olo and Patronus and Checkmate. We work through the POS. We see the orders that come. So we understand the POS systems, and then we understand the kitchen. We know all the different KDS systems. And so we're just in a unique position where through that like trust building of the relationship is like, as the brands start to evaluate other decisions in their tech stack, we can weigh in and say, hey, for your operation, being able to write into a display in the kitchen, like that's important, or whatever some of the functionality pieces. And, not to say that we're in the consulting business, but by nature of how our product works,
got to be consultative.
Yeah, it's really about helping brands deliver solutions to their problems, whether it's something we can help them with or help direct them to that right provider. That's really what this industry is all about.
Yeah, I like to say this industry operates on phone a friend.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's where for us, we don't have a big sales organization. That's really me and a few others, but really it's through the channels, but most importantly it's through the restaurants. It's through our customers that we've already sort of built that relationship with. That I can't tell you how many have come over to us at this show and said, hey, I heard about you through X, and that's really where that's how we're growing as a company.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What so I'm interested because you can see our banner right over there, right? We've got a ton of integrations as well.
Yep.
There are several different projects. One that comes to mind that is kind of the biggest right now about defined architecture and data for the industry. Yeah. Tell me how you feel about that.
I love it. I just going back to that, it's very hard to make a decision on sort of like best in class or like category based. It's like there's no two brands that are alike. There's no two locations that are alike within a brand. So being able to make tech stack decisions, certainly, like you said, like you're going to rely on your industry colleagues to help kind of drive those decisions. But, just having this kind of best in class or best practice in terms of how to make those decisions, I think it's essential right now. Because the last thing you want to do is implement something and then you're having to unwind it because it doesn't talk to this or it doesn't do that. It's really hard to grow as a brand when the technology is getting in the way of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm excited. RTN centralized is what I'm thinking of mostly, but I don't know any other vendors that are in this space that have as many integrations as our groups do that aren't beside themselves excited about having some of that a little bit more seamless than it's.
Yeah, definitely.
You've been to FSTEC before? Yeah, many times?
This will be our 4th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What sessions, conversations, what were you not expecting that happened this year at FSTEC?
Unfortunately, we didn't have time to go to any of the session.
These some good ones.
Yeah, I know. We've just been busy doing a lot of this stuff, just talking to important people. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I think this is just naturally a great event for restaurant because it's really focused on the technology. Getting everybody here at the same place. Well, that's a hard one. Yeah, that's the one you stuck.
Cut that one out. It's easy. All right. Well, if I was a restaurant that wanted to know more about Curbit, to know if Curbit was a good fit for me, to know if you integrated to my other systems that were in place, like where would I start?
Yeah, you can go to our website, curbit.com, and you can reach out to us that way. We make it very easy for brands to assess the value of Curbit. We really just need access to the data, which takes about 15 minutes. And then we make it very easy to implement because there's no hardware, there's no training. We're basically taking all the systems that the restaurant has invested in and we're making them smarter. And so, yeah, first things first though is just, understanding the environment and then getting to that place where we can show them sort of the extent of their timing problem and
Right.
whether or not that's something we can help with. I will say if we get to that junction of showing sort of relationship to ticket times and performance of their configured float times, we have 100% of the time we move those relationships into a customer.
That's
Get
fantastic.
found. Yeah, it's a profound exercise. Everyone knows they have a problem. Everyone sort of can visualize lobbies full of drivers and guests waiting and in pickup shelves littered with bags of food. But when you put the data in front of them and say, like, this is what's really happening, it's a profound exercise. So,
Well, yeah, they may know that there's a problem, but they don't have data to justify the expense of finding an actual solution to a problem they can't define. So, yeah, no, you're helping with the whole task. It's beautiful.
yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that brands should know about Curbit?
Yeah, I mean, what's core to our solution is KDS. So that's sort of that's the one requirement because that's where we're receiving the data. So as long as you have a KDS system, kitchen to study system, and you're doing off premise, there's chances are very high we can help solve a very significant problem. So love to hear from whoever those may be and see if you can help.
Excellent. Okay, one final question for you. What do you think is the biggest trend in restaurant technology that no one is talking about?
Biggest, I'm not going to say AI.
Everyone is talking about that. Okay.
Yeah. I would say the movement to digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you hear about that from Olov. It, I come from California where you got all kinds of labor problems. Every restaurant's dealing with labor. And so it's always going to be a human-based, relationship-based business. But to the extent that you can have screens do sort of the automation part, whether it's ordering or communicating progress of an order like what we're doing, removing sort of the human thinking and turning the restaurant industry back to what it really was pre-COVID, which was hospitality.
Yeah, people first.
People first, restaurants making great food, interacting with their customers and not having to have to think so much, dual problems. So
I love it.
yeah.